had never considered myself adventurous, especially not in the realm of love and intimacy. But life has a way of pushing you out of your comfort zone, and here I was, standing nervously at the entrance of the Velvet Room, a well-known venue for swingers in the city. The decision to attend wasn't spontaneous. It was the culmination of months of introspection following my divorce. I was seeking something, not just sexual liberation, but a connection, an understanding of my desires and boundaries. The room was dimly lit with a soft glow that seemed to embrace everyone in a veil of mystery and acceptance. The air was thick with the scent of incense, masking the underlying tension of anticipation. I adjusted my dress, a simple black number, feeling both out of place and oddly empowered. I was greeted by a woman named Livia, who wore her confidence like a second skin. She was in her 40s with eyes that seemed to see right through to your soul. She explained the rules, the importance of consent, and the ethos of respect and exploration. Her words put me at ease, though my heart still raced. As I mingled, I met couples and individuals from all walks of life, each with their story, their desires. There was an openness here, a lack of judgment that I found both liberating and intimidating. Among them was Alex, a man in his late 30s with a gentle demeanor but a gaze that promised depth. We connected over a shared love for jazz, and our conversation flowed naturally as we moved to a quieter corner of the room. Alex spoke of his journey into this world, how it had taught him about love, trust, and the beauty of human connection beyond traditional norms. His stories were not just about sex, but about the emotional bonds formed in such an environment. I found myself drawn to him, not just physically, but intellectually and emotionally. As the night deepened, we watched others engage in various activities, all consensual, all with an air of celebration rather than secrecy. It was here, in this openness, that I felt my own desires stirring, not just for physical intimacy, but for a connection that transcended the ordinary. The Velvet Room was more than just a venue. It was a community, a sanctuary where people could be their authentic selves. There were spaces for everything from quiet conversation to dance floors where bodies moved in sync, not just with music, but with each other's rhythms. In one corner, couples whispered secrets. In another, laughter rang out free from the constraints of judgment. It was like stepping into a different dimension where the rules of the outside world didn't apply. I found myself observing the dynamics, the respect and the joy in every interaction. There was a woman, perhaps in her 50s, with a younger man, their dance a testament to the freedom of expression. Another couple sat in deep conversation, their hands intertwined, their intimacy palpable even from across the room. It was clear that this was not just about fulfilling physical desires, but about understanding and celebrating human connection in its myriad forms. Alex invited me to explore further, not just with him, but with the community. He suggested we move to a more private area, a room designed for those looking to delve deeper into their curiosities. My heart pounded, but it was a mix of fear and excitement. I agreed, feeling both vulnerable and brave. The room was smaller, lit by candles that cast dancing shadows on the walls. Here, the atmosphere was more intimate, more focused. Alex respected my pace, asking what I was comfortable with, ensuring that every step was mutual. We sat on a plush couch, the fabric cool against my skin. Alex's hand found mine, his touch gentle, asking rather than demanding. We talked, our voices low, about what we both sought from this night. His hand moved to my face, tracing the line of my jaw, his eyes never leaving mine, asking permission. When I nodded, he kissed me, and it was unlike any kiss I'd known. It was slow, full of discovery, as if he was memorizing the shape of my lips. His hands were careful, exploring my back, my arms, each touch a question I answered with my own. We moved closer, our bodies aligning but not rushing. There was an unspoken agreement to savor this moment. His breath was warm against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. We whispered our desires, our limits, ensuring this dance was one of mutual pleasure and respect. As we lay back, the room seemed to fade, leaving just us in this bubble of intimacy. His hands found the hem of my dress, and with my nod, he slowly lifted it, his touch on my skin like a whisper. We explored each other, not with urgency, but with a reverence for the moment, for each other. Every touch was a conversation, every kiss a promise of care. We found joy in the simplicity of being close, in the gentle exploration of each other's bodies without haste. Our connection was not just physical, it was a meeting of souls, a dance of trust and affection. His fingers traced patterns on my skin, each touch igniting a spark that seemed to light up parts of me I hadn't known existed. We spoke in whispers, sharing thoughts, dreams, and the raw vulnerability that comes with such intimacy. There was no rush, no agenda, just the pure essence of being present with one another. His touch grew bolder, fingers dancing across my skin like the prelude to a symphony. I felt the heat of his body, his breath mingling with mine as our lips met again, this time with more urgency. His kisses were like strokes of paint on a canvas, each one adding color and complexity to our shared experience. I felt his hand slide under the fabric of my dress, his touch firm yet tender, exploring the curves of my body with an artist's precision. There was a moment of hesitation, a silent question in his eyes, and I answered by pulling him closer. The air around us seemed to pulse with our shared desire. His lips found my neck, my collarbone, each kiss sending waves of pleasure through me. I felt him against me, our bodies aligning in a way that spoke of both need and respect. The room was filled with the soft sounds of our breathing, the rustle of fabric, and the unspoken promises of the night. My thumbs were embracing his face, the tips of his ears. It had been a week since I had slept with a man. When we paused lying beside each other, our breaths mingling, I felt an overwhelming sense of connection. It wasn't just about breaking norms for me. It was about finding myself, understanding my desires in a safe, consensual environment. Alex and I spent the rest of the night talking, laughing, sharing more about our lives outside of this room. He wasn't just a partner for this night. He became a friend, someone who understood this part of me that I was still discovering. We discussed our experiences, our hopes, and how nights like these could reshape one's understanding of love and intimacy. The night wasn't over. We ventured back into the main area, now with a new sense of belonging. I watched as others engaged in their chosen activities, some in playful flirtation, others in deep, respectful connections. There was a performance area where artists expressed themselves through dance and poetry, celebrating the body and spirit in equal measure. I joined a small group discussing the psychology of desire, finding myself enriched by the insights shared. There was no pressure, only an invitation to explore, to learn, to grow. Alex and I mingled, sometimes together, sometimes apart, each interaction adding layers to my night's narrative. Among the crowd, I caught the eye of a woman, her gaze bold and inviting. Her name was Mara, with hair like midnight and a smile that seemed to promise secrets. She approached, her voice a melody. "Would you like to dance?" Her hand was warm in mine, leading me to the dance floor where the music was a seductive whisper. Dancing with Mara was different. Her movements were fluid, her touch electrifying. Her body moved against mine, not in overt sexuality, but in a celebration of rhythm and connection. Alex watched from afar, his smile one of encouragement, understanding that this night was about exploration, about pushing boundaries in consensual, respectful ways. A dance ended with a kiss, light and full of promise, a moment shared between women who understood the beauty of connection beyond gender or expectation. It was a taste, a hint of what could be explored further in another night or another life. As the event neared its end, I sat with Livia, who had initially welcomed me. She shared her journey, how she found empowerment and healing in this community. It was a revelation to hear how such spaces could be therapeutic, not just sexually, but emotionally. I reflected on my journey here. What started as curiosity had blossomed into understanding. I wasn't just exploring sexuality, I was exploring the human condition, the need for connection, for acceptance, for freedom. The night wasn't over just yet. Alex and I returned to a more secluded space, this time joined by Myra. The three of us sat, the conversation flowing like a river, touching on everything from philosophy to the intricacies of human desire. There was an unspoken agreement to explore further, to see where the night would lead us. Mara's fingers brushed against my arm, her touch light but deliberate. We shared stories, laughs, and the comfort of being among those who understood. When the conversation turned to more intimate topics, the air around us thickened with anticipation. With consent and mutual respect at the forefront, we moved closer, the touch of three becoming a dance of its own. Alex's lips found mine while Mara's hands explored my back, her touch igniting a fire that seemed to consume us all in its warmth. The exploration was gentle, respectful, yet filled with an undercurrent of wild desire. We moved together, a symphony of touch and breath, each of us giving and taking in equal measure. There was no rush, just a shared journey into the depths of what intimacy could mean when three hearts and bodies were aligned. Walking out of the velvet room, I felt changed, not just by the physical intimacy, but by the emotional journey. I had come seeking something, perhaps a fleeting thrill, but I left with insights into my own heart, the beauty of consent, and the unexpected warmth of human connection in its most open form. Its open form, which so often takes the shape of a ghost, is also a very concise and true testimony to how this night wasn't about crossing boundaries, but about understanding them, about finding love, respect, and self-discovery in a place where society often casts shadows of judgment. I knew I'd return not just for the thrill of adventure, but for the community, for Alex, for Mara, and for the journey of understanding my own desires in this beautifully complex tapestry of human relationships. It was so much. As I stepped into the cool night air, I felt a sense of liberation, a new chapter in my life where I wasn't confined by past expectations, but was open to the endless possibilities of what love and intimacy could mean. This experience wasn't the end, but the beginning of a new exploration of self, love, and connection. The night had been a revelation, a tapestry woven from threads of desire, understanding, and the pure joy of human connection in all its forms. Whew!